Now at 6 and streaming on crossroadstoday.com, animal shelter statistics show a dramatic turnaround as the person behind the numbers steps down.
A local daycare faces a state investigation. What records show about past violations and current concerns.
Plus details on the Brubaker ISD superintendent's contract extension.
We're talking about some cold weather for tonight, getting down into the mid-30s, so bundle up early in the morning, but sunshine will make the afternoons fairly pleasant. We'll talk about that coming up.
And the Shiner Comanches are set for the state's semifinals versus the Mount Enterprise Wildcats this Friday night. We'll preview this matchup later on.
You're watching 25 News now at 6. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Shawna Currie.
And I'm Don Brubaker.
The Victoria ISD Board of Trustees extended Superintendent Sheila Collazo's contract. Collazo wrapped up her first year in the district on December 2nd. Her contract is now extended through November 2028. It comes with a pay bump around 5%. She'll now make $262,000 a year. And there's a new performance incentive plan. Collazo can earn an extra $5,000 for each of 5 district and student achievement goals if met every year, with payouts for those coming each November. The state's child care investigations team is looking into Faith Family Church's Cub Care Early Learning Center in Victoria, working with regulators to make sure children there are safe. The state is not sharing details because the investigation is confidential. But the day after the latest reported incident, the state website shows 8 violations at the center, mostly about staffing and paperwork. Records also show issues last year, including corporal punishment used and a caregiver accused of aggressively grabbing children by the arm. The state says those issues were addressed. We did reach out to Pastor Matt Mashburn with Faith Family Church. He declined to comment, citing the ongoing investigation.
Some changes are coming to leadership at Victoria County Animal Services. Mark Sloat is stepping down as director with his last day set for this Friday, December 12th. Supervisor Joe Hernandez, who's been with the department since 2019, will take over as interim director. Hernandez will hold the interim position until a new director is named. Hernandez says he plans to keep things moving forward with the same plan Sloat had in place.
He's taught us a lot of new ways how to handle any animal conditions. There's a lot that I learned from him.
Sloat has been director of animal services in Victoria County for 3 years. About a week before Sloat's last day, he put out a report on how Victoria County Animal Services was doing with intake and call responses.
25 News Now reporter Trenton Whiting is here to break down the details and show how the department has changed during Sloat's time as director. Trenton?
Shawna, Don, there are several key statistics Sloat reported on social media that have changed since 2015. The number of dogs they've had to take in has dropped significantly. You could see this trend from 2015, falling from around 1,600 that year to just over 1,000. As of December 4th, VCIS has picked up under 900 dogs. Higher numbers of adoptions and lower euthanasia numbers also speak to better shelter management, from 894 euthanized dogs in 2015 to just under 300 last year, jumping to just 139 dogs this year. Adoptions are also trending upwards from 117 in 2015 up to over 340 in 2024, and as of December 4th, 365 dogs adopted this year. Sloat pointed to the improved containment for pets, education for the community, and a policy to return dogs to their owners. Adoptions also play a big role, saying they're on track for one of the biggest adoption years in the department's history. Donna, Sean, back to you.
The Food Bank of the Golden Crescent is doubling down on feeding the community this holiday season.
25 News Now reporter Ray Mosley spoke with the president of the food bank and explains how they're making this possible.
A local business has partnered with the Food Bank of the Golden Crescent to provide more meals for the community. With that donation, a single dollar can now provide 16 meals through the food bank.
It's critical. It's critical, and we are grateful for their partnership, their continued partnership.
Cato says she understands that food is a necessity, and with food insecurity not going away, this helps their mission to serve and feed the Crossroads area.
The best part of my job is the fact that when donations come in, whether it's through the mail or however, I am lucky enough and blessed enough that I get to thank these individual donors personally and that means a lot to me. It's a very rewarding and satisfying part of my job.
The food bank's donation will continue through the end of this year. Ray Mosley, KAVU TV, 25 News Now.
8 years ago today, December 8th, 2017, snow hit the crossroads. 2 inches of snow was reported at the Victoria Regional Airport. We had reports of snow from all over the crossroads starting early that morning. Snow in this area obviously is very rare. What made it even more unusual was that it happened just over 3 months after Hurricane Harvey blasted the crossroads. We went from one weather oddity to another. Today, no snow, but lots of sun. Yes.
It was chilly, but not cold enough for any
nothing
snow.
like that. That was a year where you start thinking, what's going on? You know,
Well,
Harvey had blown through, and then the snow arrives.
everyone got to get out and play in the snow because school was delayed a couple hours to make sure everyone was safe on the roads and stuff. So it gave everyone time to, enjoy it before it melted off.
That's great. Well, unfortunately, we don't have anything to play with like that right about now. We've got dry north winds over the area, and that's going to give us a clear, cold night. Getting down into the 30s tonight. We're looking at a 37 here in Victoria. We'll talk more about what to expect the rest of the week in just a moment.
Mike, thank you. Democratic U.S. Representative Jasmine Crockett started a campaign for the U.S. Senate in Texas. Crockett still faces State Representative James Tallarico for the Democratic nod. Crockett, a civil rights attorney serving her second House term, has a national profile as one of Congress's most outspoken Democrats and a frequent target of GOP attacks. She's seeking the Senate seat held by Republican John Cornyn, who's running for re-election in the GOP-dominated state. Former Dallas Congressman Colin Allred ended his Senate run today. Allred announced he will run for a newly drawn congressional seat in Dallas County, setting up a primary challenge with Democrat Representative Julie Johnson. This was Allred's second attempt at a Senate run after losing to Senator Ted Cruz in 2024. But Allred was facing the possibility of a crowded Democratic primary and was lagging in fundraising.
If you see news happening, give us a call in our newsroom at 361-576-0026 or send us an email to staff@crossroadstoday.com.
Texas started a partnership with Turning Point USA today to create chapters of the organization on every high school campus in the state. Governor Greg Abbott said he expects, quote, meaningful disciplinary action, unquote, to take place against any stoppage of TPUSA in Texas. Governor Abbott added that any school that stands in the way of a Turning Point USA program in the school should be reported immediately to the Texas Education Agency. The governor says Texas already has more than 500 schools with Club America chapters.
Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell. Stay with us. Coming up on 25 News Now at 6, McDonald's is looking at a new way to improve food quality at all of its restaurants.
Also ahead, something you may not know about the Guadalupe River, and it may scare you. Attorneys for the victims of a former Fort Hood OBGYN asked Texas U.S. senators to request an independent Department of Defense Inspector General investigation. The probe would look into Major Blaine McGraw's reported sexual assaults of military patients and the Army's systemic failures to protect patients. McGraw is accused of sexually assaulting and secretly recording potentially thousands of patients at Darnall Army Community Hospital in Fort Hood and Tripler Army Medical Center in Hawaii.
The man accused of turning some angry words into another stabbing incident on the light rail service of Charlotte, North Carolina, made his first court appearance today.
Ivan Rodriguez has the latest on the incident, while city leaders give more assurances their community is safe.
Once again on Friday, Charlotte police responded to an innocent passenger being stabbed on the Lynx Blue Line, part of the Charlotte area transit system. Another shocking incident for the community.
I cannot believe this has happened again. I cannot allow this to stop me from living my life and using the train, but you know, I haven't sat down on the train like at all since Irina was killed.
23-year-old Irina Zarutska, a refugee of the war in Ukraine, was on the same rail line in August when she was stabbed and killed. The victim in Friday's stabbing told CNN affiliate WRAL he was trying to protect an elderly woman being screamed at on the train when the verbal attack turned physical. The Trump administration says the alleged attacker is 33-year-old Oscar Solorzano, an illegal immigrant who was previously deported from the U.S. twice. He made his first court appearance Monday and was charged with 5 counts, including attempted first-degree murder. According to the district attorney's office, Solorzano was arrested after fleeing the train. Police say Solorzano smelled of alcohol and had slurred speech. After being read his rights in English and Spanish, he admitted to the stabbing. Solorzano's public defender did not comment, but his family said he has a history of mental illness. He's being held without bond.
This is just continuing to reinforce the feeling that I can't let my guard down on the train.
Charlotte Mayor Vi Lyles wrote Saturday in part, "Everyone deserves to be and feel safe in our city, and there's no room for violence in our community." I'm Ivan Rodriguez reporting.
Charlotte's new police chief was sworn in last Friday. He spoke on the department's plan to put more officers on the streets.
McDonald's is making changes to how it runs its franchises. According to memos obtained by CNBC, starting January 1st, franchisees around the world will be evaluated on how their prices deliver value to customers. The move comes as the fast food giant looks to win back diners who have been cutting back and visiting less often. For context, franchising standards are basically the rules that guide how McDonald's operators run their restaurants. And since franchisees operate about 95% of McDonald's locations worldwide and set their own prices, these changes could have a big impact. Well, poinsettias, such as those here in front of us at the anchor desk, they date back to the Aztecs and were even found in Old Mexico.
Veteran journalist Bill Clough reports on one local business that grows them every year. It's part of a $250 million nationwide business.
It just isn't the holidays without poinsettias. These are fake. These aren't. 2,365 of them. And this lady is in charge of their care and feeding.
I'm Monica Pilot. I'm the owner of Midcoast Floral and Landscaping here in Inez, Texas. The nursery was growing poinsettias for years and years before I took over. This is one of the crops that I have continued on with when I took over 10 years ago. I have trialed 20 or 30 different varieties in the last 10 years, trying to find new varieties to provide an even better quality.
These are about ready to sell, but the process begins in August.
I get in 3,400 cuttings that we plant between about 3,000 pots of poinsettias a season. I don't get a lot of growth or color development until we actually truly start getting into our fall temperatures. Our nighttime temperatures will start coming down and we'll just have a little bit overall cooler temperature in the greenhouse.
And once they're home?
To keep your poinsettia looking fresh throughout the holiday season, you want to get it home. When you are getting it to your vehicle even, you want to make sure that it's protected from the outside wind If it's colder than 50 degrees outside, you want to protect it from those cooler temperatures. When you get it home indoors, select a bright indirect light. If they have too much darkness, that can encourage leaf drop a little sooner than you would like. And you also want to keep it ideally between 65 and 75 degrees.
The holiday popularity of poinsettias is thanks to one man, Joel Roberts Poinsett, the first U.S. ambassador to Mexico. He brought it back. A botanist displayed it at a flower show in 1829, and the tradition was established. 3 years ago, Congress declared December 12th National Poinsett Day, which means never underestimate the flower of diplomacy.
To get more news, weather, and sports, come to our website, crossroadstoday.com.
The Guadalupe River is one of the waterways that is home to the most snakes in Texas. But don't panic if you see one of these slithery creatures. A new list of the state's most snake-infested rivers from World Atlas shows the 230-mile river supports a wide range of aquatic life, including many species of snakes. Among the creatures in the Guadalupe River are water moccasins. There are 4 types of venomous snakes found in the Guadalupe River. The poisonous snakes help control the population of rodents, one of their main food sources.
Yeah, I know, but I can't wait around and find what kind of snake is that? I'm gone already. I'm gone. I'm not going to sit around and say, is it a good one or a bad one? Anyway, folks, good evening, everybody. Nice and cool and clear out there. We're down to 54 degrees. Temperature is going to be dropping down to the mid-30s tonight. So tomorrow morning, it's going to be rather chilly, so bundle up. Our high today was 62. The overnight low was 40. Will be obviously colder than that. We generally are looking at relatively dry weather through the weekend. We'll take a closer look at that coming up in a moment. Well, good evening, everybody. Yesterday we picked up that gusty north wind that brought in the chilly weather. It's, of course, dry air that rolled in, and still offshore you can see this is real interesting, watch. North wind, because of its contact with the surface, is slower than 20 miles an hour here. But because it has no contact with the surface here over the water, it speeds up. That's why you see these gusts at over 20 miles an hour and not so much on land. But that, of course, brought us the cool, dry air that's going to be with us for a couple of days. In fact, fairly quiet week. I don't have a lot of weather coming at us. And, of course, this is a classic reason for La Nina. Now, remember, La Nina means that the Pacific Ocean and the equator is colder than normal. That sets up a big dome of high pressure. Well, that dome then deflects all of the storms from the Pacific over the Rockies and then down into the eastern states. It's not good news for the Rockies or the western mountains because they need the snow, but this kind of diverts it over the area. Up here, there's going to be some howling winter storms rolling through and affecting much of New England, but the West and Texas, well, not exactly invited to that. I'm going to show you the low temperatures for tomorrow morning. Right about there. That's 6 a.m. across the country. We're looking, of course, rather chilly weather here, but not to be complaining. I mean, you know, fairly mild weather throughout the western states in the 40s as a nighttime low in December. That's not bad at all. The cold weather is way up here, and you can see how the freeze line, that's the afternoon temperature, gets all the way up into New England. We take a look at our weather alerts. We have none, absolutely none. But as I mentioned, right about here along this line is where all the howling winter storms are going to be blowing through. In fact, for the Dakotas, they've got a wind storm advisory, 60-mile-an-hour winds coming through with the storms up there. So in this pattern, it's upper New England, a little bit of the Ohio Valley, and the Northeast that get pounded by the storms. We were talking earlier about 2017, and you can see how Victoria looked so lovely that morning with 2 inches of snow officially around the area. Kids got a chance to go out there and play. That's the only time that they'll actually get up early and get dressed, is when there's something to go out and play with. So here again is another view of why all the storms are going to be north of us. You can see how the lines of pressure here, equal pressure, isobars, is sending everything in that direction. And for us, well, we're kind of protected by high pressure that is going to keep everything kind of away from us for a couple of days. As a matter of fact, we've got quiet weather through this weekend. This weekend we start picking up humidity and clouds, and you'll see a little bit of dreariness, a little mist and drizzle. But for the short term, looking beautiful. Down to 45 in Port Lavaca and up to 67. And then in the Cuero area, you're getting down into the mid-30s tonight, so it's going to be rather chilly. Your high temperature, though, very comfortable at about 69 for the afternoon. Can't complain. So lovely for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and even Friday's not bad. You notice temperatures are going to warm up, and the south wind really kicks in by the weekend, so we're going to pick up low clouds and maybe a little drizzle here and there, but I wouldn't call it any significant rainfall. That is your 7-day forecast, reminding everybody we do have a QR code. Love for you to scan that, put Crossroads Today on your phone. Shawna, back to you.
All right, well, now we go from weather to sports, and we'll send it over to Max Williams.
That's right, John. Goliad and Victoria West football, they revealed their top honors from this past year. We're going to showcase all these honors next in sports. Last week we had 6 teams competing in the regional finals, and we're going to cut that number down to half thereafter. Again, going into Thursday when we preview each team there individually, those 3 teams. We're going to start off with the Shiner Comanches, who last week beat the Junction Eagles there 22-6. And this week they're facing a high-powered offensive team in Mount Enterprise in the Wildcats. And for Enterprise, they won a high-scoring game last week versus the Bremen Tigers, 64-58. Yes, that was the score of that game, everybody, the final score. They have a star all-around player there in Keegan Ash, who last week, get this, had 47 carries, 501 yards on the ground and had 6 total touchdowns. Yes, that was all in one game, everybody. And he had 2 receiving touchdowns as well to add with it. So probably for Shiner, the game plan is probably to stop him, right? He had 6 touchdowns, 2 there up there in the air. And again, for Shiner, they also want their offense to keep going, as Jarvis Williams has done well, Quincy Jones has done good in the running game. So that's going to be huge for the Comanches. And that game is going to be Friday night at 7 p.m. at Randall Reed Stadium. Now, staying in the football area, but with the Goliad Tigers, as they revealed their 2026 District 16 3A All-District Awards. Some of the top honors went to District MVP Lamont Franklin, then Offensive Player of the Year in Donovan Perry, then Defensive Player of the Year in Tyler Flores, Utility Player of the Year going to Deshaun Avery, and then Coach of the Year to Coach Kevin Salazar. The first team offense also got some awards. Quarterback Court Zamzow, guard Jaden Valdez, and then tackle Keandre Gardner. So to see the full all-district selections for Goliad football, just go to crossroadstoday.com/sports. Now, how about Victoria West? They also announced their academic all-state and all-district awards there for today. First, they revealed first team went out there to Colton Gray that got the award. Then second team went to Ethan Guerra, Dylan Schrenk, Zachary Merritt, and Ethan Van Dusen, and Jarrett Swanson. And then their quarterback Nolan Boyce also there got the big time award. So if you want to also see the full list, just go to crossroadstoday.com/sports. Now over to high school basketball, where last week Tidehaven women's basketball coach Michelle Wagner recorded her 150th career win there in her coaching career out there at Tidehaven. And Wagner last year helped the Tigerettes reach the regional finals before they lost to the Uriton Saguas 42-36. The team looks to make a deeper run to state. They're currently ranked there at number 3 in the Texas Girls Coaches Association rankings for this week. Now I mentioned Tidehaven being ranked there at number 3 in this week's rankings, but Edna also got there in the top 25 there at number 19. And then also in TAPS Girls Division in 2A, Shiner St. Paul was at number 7. And then out there for the boys in 3A, Goliad's there at number 16. And then finally there in TAPS 2A Division out there is Faith Academy Victoria at number 6. And finally, Bloomington Bobcats are facing the St. Joseph Flyers right now at the Flyer Dome. The Flyers are currently 4-1 this year, while Bloomington is 5-8 overall. We're going to have some highlights, some stats, and some more of that for that game later for 25 News Now Sports at 10 p.m. And that's going to do it here in sports. Don, Shawna, back to you.
Max, thank you. We're back in a moment. Reindeer at a Christmas event is always welcome, but one reindeer did not follow the script. Finally tonight, you know Dasher and Dancer and Prancer and Buddy. Buddy? Well, a reindeer by that name has a new claim to fame. Officials say he ran away from a recent Christmas event in England. They say that led to an hours-long search involving a drone and police. Now, Buddy is back where he belongs after rescuers found him on a beach. Found him on a beach. Okay.
You know, they figured no one hangs out at the beach.
Yeah, make it a little different. You know,
it's a sequel. It's a sequel to Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. It's Buddy the AWOL reindeer. He's found on a beach.
There you go.
Oh yeah, which is a nice place to be on a day like this. Oh, because
absolutely.
Except for the wind, maybe a little too chilly.
The wind was cutting yesterday, last night especially, and it'll be a chilly morning, getting down to about 37. So bundle up early in the morning, especially when we have to take the dogs out. We're looking for sunshine, though, for the rest of the week as temperatures will slowly get back up to the upper 70s. So enjoy the afternoons. The mornings will be on the cool side.
So this is going to be, as you see there, the pattern all week long, 70s, 70s?
Yes, very pleasant through Friday, and then Saturday, Sunday we pick up cloud deck, which will give us a little bit of light rain or drizzle. I'll call it just cloudy and dreary. I won't call it really bad, and I don't expect any significant rain out of that weekend thing.
So we can get out and put the Christmas decorations out if we haven't done it so far.
I'm finished. I did it all this weekend.
Or shopping. Thank you, Mac, and thanks for joining us.
We'll see you back here tonight for 25 News Now at 10.